Hey, welcome back to another App Nation podcast with the hockey coach, Coach Frenchie, directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. One amazing, great Wednesday night, July 16, 2025. Middle of the summer already, middle of July is quiet around the NHL. We try to pick up a couple news left and right, but I think we have a lot of great lineup for all of you tonight on this great podcast. We apologize that you late a little bit, Coach. Yes, usually I'm not late. And it's not because of the co-host we have tonight, but because Marko was supposed to be with us. And unfortunately, I did not contact him. I thought he's going to remember. And he did not reply to me. So it looked like Marko is not going to be there. My setup on my graphics, and I worked this morning, the last 2 hours, was with 3 people. Now we have only 2. So have to switch a couple overlay, but I think overall we're going to be pretty good anyway. And I can't wait to talk about the Montreal Canadiens and the NHL. Don't forget, my next show will be Friday night only for the fun Friday night, and then the Sunday night recap. We're going to be on that schedule for 2 weeks, this week and next week. Then after that, we're going to come back normal schedule a couple more time per week. And of course, if we have a couple of news happening, we're going to jump live stream the evening. So he is back with us after an amazing, great first time with us a couple of weeks ago. Honestly, it was his second time because 2 years ago he was with us. And he really enjoyed to be with you guys. And you guys, you really more enjoyed to see him with me a couple of weeks ago. And you asking me to bring him back. And he is willing to come back tonight, talking about the Montreal Canadiens and the NHL. I think he's back home now, if I don't make a mistake. And I think he's in New Jersey area. So we're going to welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Jim Beringer is back in the house tonight.
Coach, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for having me, Coach. Hey, thanks to all the viewers that asked for me to come back. Yes, back in the great state of New Jersey from my vacation in Vermont for 4th of July and a little time off here for the season. As you guys can see, I have my Devil stuff and my background set up. So this is what it normally looks like with the trophy case, with the wall of pucks and memorabilia everywhere. This is my studio. This is where I normally am. But sometimes you catch me on vacation. That's okay. But I want to say thank you to everybody here, Hockey Nation, and all the fans out there to ask the questions. Last time I was on, it was really great. And a lot of stuff we talked about seems like everybody else is talking about now, too. So head of the game as usual.
I'm glad to see you around us, and I'm happy to having you again tonight. And like I said, it's fun to have you to talk about hockey. Your knowledge about hockey is great, but also I think I have to mention this because you really impressed me. I'm a little bit off like this week and the next week, and I have more time to get on my X account. I'm still in the jail on my old account, so I try to build my new one. It's difficult anyway. And then I was, because I don't have a lot of people to follow, so you pop up more often on my feet, right? And the every weekend, I was like, oh my God, this guy knows WWE like crazy. So give up a little bit more to open up about this. Like you're really a fan of WWE and you know honestly what's going on. So we have a few people like the WWE, but honestly, your resume about your WWE is impressive.
Well, thank you. No, look, I've loved pro wrestling since I was a kid. Still love pro wrestling. My buddies and I say pro wrestling is life. We love it. Bret Hart was my guy growing up. Still is my guy. Got to meet him a lot of times. I've been to Montreal for wrestling. I think Canada has one of the best wrestling bases and fans in the world. Obviously, Montreal Canadian fans are great in hockey. I've been there, Bell Center, for wrestling as well. They very knowledgeable, like the New York, New Jersey area fans. I just always been a wrestling guy, and I'm gonna call it like it is, especially when something I don't like happens. I'm gonna call it out. Similar in the National Hockey League as well, and it's just great to see that everybody can get along no matter what it is, NHL or WWE. I appreciate that, Coach, for you seeing my knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely right about that. Of course, it's crazy to know. Like I was following, I don't follow really the whistling and the whistling. I long time ago, like this is going to be long time, like the Rougeau and the Dino Bravo and the Jean Ferré, everything like that, the Giant, everything, right? But Edouard Carpentier, anyway, the long time, 40 years ago. And honestly, I'm too busy with hockey, everything. So, to see you involved with that, like I see you passionate about this, is very impressive. So I just want to sharing this with you for people. Every time that we have a lot of people in that chat. One of you, you don't know him, but he's from Houston, and Joseph he is with us for about 5 years now. But he's a big fan of the New Jersey Devils. He is the biggest fans of the Devils on my channel, and he knows really well the Devils. He follow a lot of podcaster left and right. So Joseph is here, so I'm glad he's around to hear a little bit more about you, and glad to having you aboard. We want to welcome everybody in the chat. Thanks everybody. Usually I welcome everyone one by one, but I don't want to waste the time tonight because we are a little bit late already, and I want to get Jim. One thing we ask all the people: subscribe, click on the likes, and of course become a member. But of course, if you have any question for Jim or me, put the letter Q in front of your statement or your post, and we're going to answer to your question. Jim is here for about 90 minutes, so take advantage of Jim about everything about hockey, Devils, Montreal, or anything else you're going to talk about. He knows is hockey. So first of all, I'm going to open this show with Wayne Thomas. Wayne Thomas passed away today. RIP for Wayne Thomas. Thomas was a goaltender in NHL, played approximately 10 years, over 243 games in NHL. He started his career with the Montreal Canadiens in 1972 and 1973, and the 73 and 74. He was played with the Nova Scotia Voyageurs. Les Voyageurs, some people remember that team in the American Hockey League, and some people live in this area. So I just want to share this with the news about this. I don't know if you know the name of Wayne Thomas or you hear about him. He was also he was working with the organization of San Jose Sharks as an advisor. So maybe if you know the Wayne Thomas, sharing with us a little bit about him.
Yeah, no, I just saw the news pop up like you did about Wayne Thomas's passing and another member of the alumni leaving. We know we had the Alex Delvecchio passing a few weeks ago. I think it was right before free agency or the day of free agency, and just unfortunate. A guy like that, Wayne Thomas, good guy. Nothing but love from what I've seen coming around the hockey world for a guy that's been around the league, and I believe he was doing really well with the San Jose Sharks as an advisor, and people in that organization said he's going to be sadly missed, and he's going to be sadly missed around the league. I never saw him play, to be honest. I'm probably a little young for Wayne Thomas, but
Yeah.
but you know what? I think you know what? He's going to be missed, and RIP to Wayne Thomas. Too many good people passing here in 2025.
You're right about that. So we see, it's sometimes to remind us a little bit the story of that time in 1990s when the Montreal dominated the NHL for the beginning of 71 all the way to at the end of the 70s. So Wayne Thomas, he was one of the goalie back up with the Montreal Canadiens. He played 10 games the first year, if I remember. And the second year, he played 42 games after the game, a little bit more on the second year with the Montreal Canadiens before he got traded. And he had a career about 10 years, played with about 4 teams, I believe. So Toronto is one of them, by the way. So I know some people some people remember him. Question for you: any rumor about Forsberg being traded to the Montreal Canadiens, or do you hear any rumor about Forsberg? I think he talked about Philip Forsberg for Nashville Predator. For me, I didn't hear anything. I don't know if you hear something like that.
No, I haven't heard anything about Philip Forsberg leaving Nashville for Montreal. I know Montreal's been connected to like a bunch of centers. Obviously, the last time we were here, we were talking about Mason McTavish as a potential guy. Now he's in arbitration with the Ducks, and you could still potentially trade for him once you know what the contract situation is. But I haven't heard anything about them looking at Nashville for Philip Forsberg, and it would take a mighty high price to get Philip Forsberg out of Nashville. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I haven't heard anything there, but I will say that maybe a cheaper option might be a guy like Ryan O'Reilly. But again, I haven't heard anything about O'Reilly either, so I don't really want to start anything here on your show about O'Reilly and the Canadiens. But I haven't heard anything about Philip Forsberg. Nashville with Barry Trotz and what he's doing, I don't know if he wants to unload a guy like that who can get him 40 goals a season, maybe a little less than that. He can average about 30, 35 a season, and he's good face-off guy. I'm not sure he wants to give up a guy like that without getting something in return. That's going to cost the Canadiens potentially a lot of their future guys that they have up there in the lineup right now, like a Caulfield, like a Suzuki. I don't think that's something Jeff Gordon or Kent Hughes want to do. I have not heard them connected to Philip Forsberg in Nashville.
Yeah, me too. Do you remember the trade of Forsberg?
Mm-hmm. I do. With Washington. Yeah.
Yep. Who
That
was
was
involved?
that. Oh God, I know the name. It's right on the tip of my tongue, too. I
So
know who it was.
that year, Forsberg, on my draft, he was top 7. So I follow him a lot during the year. Everything like that. I really like the way he was playing in Sweden, and he got draft, and I was excited for the Washington Capitals. And then he got traded for Martin Erat.
Yeah, the Erat trade, like that's like one of the big gets by at the time David Poyle. That was
Yes,
probably his biggest. That was a steal for David. He wanted to unload Erat that year too. He was trying to unload him, and he was able to get Philip Forsberg from the Washington Capitals. And everybody forgets that he was a Washington draft pick. Forsberg. He was not drafted by the Nashville Predators. It feels like he was because he played his whole career there, but he was drafted by Washington.
exactly. It was 34 game, 35 game he played with the Washington, and what a trade from the Nashville, David Boy, the man behind the desk in Washington. So I just want to sharing this with you because this is it's stuck in my head all the time. So people pop up here. We welcome everybody. Usually we welcome one to one, but we have a special guest. So I'm trying to keep this very short for the people in the chat, but more for the time to Jim talking about hockey. Pip up a couple of questions here. We have one here. Question for Jim. Is the New York Canadiens worry about losing Nico Dawes, the goaltender, with them with Allen now, or the 3 goalie system this year? So we know is a backup goaltender last season after an injury for Max Strom, but he's been in this organization for many years, a great year, many years. This is the kind of player can do well in Utica. He played in NHL, not bad, but he don't have any spot to keep him all the time. So sharing with us, we know they trade the other goaltender, the big guys with Wild Vegas go tonight, Schmidt.
Oh, Akira Schmid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So so great question by the viewer here. I was on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio a couple of weeks. Actually, it was last week, and I was asked about this, the goalie tandem of Markstrom and Allen. And this is a great question because I've seen a lot of, I put this out on my Twitter at Jim Berenger. You can follow along there. And I've made comments about this, especially when it comes to the Oilers and their goaltending situation and other teams. Nico Dawes has to go through waivers. So he's not. Last year he was on a 2-way contract, so he was waiver ineligible. So he could just pass through waivers. He was waiver exempt. Now with the experience that he has in the games played, he has to go on waivers to go to the AHL in Utica. Somebody's going to pick him up. Like everybody needs goaltending, and we saw Allen with Montembeault, and I believe it was Primo at the time, and if there was another goaltender in Montreal, I might be missing. But he didn't like that 3 goalie tandem that was running there in Montreal. That's why New Jersey traded for him. Even though New Jersey was on his no trade list, they convinced him to come. Now you have Markstrom there signed for. You have Allen there signed for 5 years. Markstrom's probably going to get a new deal. Fitzgerald likes this tandem. They feed off each other. They have guys coming. If you can keep Nico Dawes and use him as a trade package, great. But we know goalies are valuable around the league, and somebody's going to pick him off waivers
Definitely.
if they
He
put
will
him
not
on.
pass. He will not pass the
He's not
waiver.
going to pass. He's not going to pass.
No doubt in my mind. Flyers, San Jose, and maybe Calgary or Vancouver also. So this is a kid's going to be pick up for sure. We have a question, just a quick one. Roger said, "Did you ever see the Habs play live?"
Did I ever see? Oh, 100 times I've seen the Habs play live, if not more. So great question. Funny story. Not funny story because you'll appreciate this. I was there when Martin Brodeur scored his first goal against Montreal in the playoffs.
Oh
So I was
yeah.
at that game. But my first NHL game as a kid, I still have it on my wall. My first ticket, because I keep all the tickets. When I was a kid, first game was against the Canadiens. my first ever hockey game I went to was Devils Canadiens. So I've always had a soft spot for Montreal. I've seen the Habs play so many times. I've gone out to Montreal when I was in college to go see the Canadiens play.
You've been to the
Because I went to
Forum, right?
yeah, I went only once. One time I was there before it closed. One
Okay.
time I got there. One time, but I saw it. So
Awesome.
I
Awesome to hear that.
it was great to see that. I love that old building. And yeah, it's just great to see the Montreal Canadiens play. Like I said, I went to school in Vermont, so the Bell Center was probably like a 2-hour drive from where I went to school.
By
So
the
we
way,
go to games.
Rajvi is in Vermont.
Oh, he is? Okay,
Yeah, he's
nice.
at the bottom of at the south of Vermont in Massachusetts. He's at the border. On the border. Where are you in Vermont?
Well, I'm up north. I'm near Burlington, so I'm northern Vermont.
Burlington.
Yeah.
So I work with a by work. I've been 1 year for the Burlington Expos in baseball.
Oh yes, I know where they play, Centennial Field at UVM. Yep.
Yeah, it was a Jim was Kyle's his last name I cannot remember. Young kid, 23 years old Jim over there. It's little great sport, great stadium for the minor league, a single A, only a short season. Remember that one? And I did a lot of rollerblade skating on the lake, on the Champlain Lake, all the way. I was like skate every day, 5, 7, 10 mile to keep in shape. That's a long time ago, guys. It's crazy to hear that. So,
All right.
yeah.
So, quick fun fact before we get to the next question. So, fun fact: Burlington and Lake Champlain. So, I just found this marker. I've been going there for a long time. So, I'm just going to read this off my phone. I'll send this to you. You can put this up on your Twitter. You tell your fans. The first international ice hockey game was held on Lake Champlain in 1886 in the tournament. It involved the Montreal Hockey Club, who went on to win the first Stanley Cup.
1896.
1886 was the first international game played on Lake Champlain, and
Wow.
it involved the Montreal Hockey Club, who went on to win the first Stanley Cup in 1893.
Oh, that's crazy. He was in Vermont.
Vermont, yep.
Wow. The team university is pretty good. The Content Mouth. One Martin Louis played there. One of my friend was Eric Peary, and
John Leclerc
Peary,
played
yeah,
there too.
yeah. So I remember to get there. What do you like the Devils about the game for Quinn Hughes?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's like the big talking point in New Jersey right now. I mean, look, Quinn Hughes hasn't officially told Vancouver whether or not he wants to stay. All indications are right now he's staying. Look, Jim Rutherford opened up a can of worms when he said he wants to go play with his brothers. If it's New Jersey, obviously they're going to have to trade a defenseman to get him. Again, he's a left shot defenseman. You know, everybody looks at Dougie Hamilton as part of the package. Are you going to have to give up somebody like Dawson Mercer? You know, Vancouver's not going to take Andre Palat. That's something they're probably going to have to give up. Maybe a first-round pick as well, or a very, very top defensive prospect for something that Vancouver can replace Quinn Hughes with, because you're not giving him up for nothing. But the issue is if Quinn Hughes says he only wants to go to New Jersey, you're not winning that trade. It's like with the JT Miller trade. You're just going to get whatever you're going to get because he only wants to go to one team. So there's going to be a lot of negotiating. Now, the Devils could trade for him, or they can give up nothing and wait till he becomes an unrestricted free agent and sign him to an extension. So a couple options there. We're not there yet. Again, we still have to wait to see what Quinn Hughes wants to do in Vancouver. And Vancouver, it seems they want to keep everybody and keep him happy. So for right now, he's still a member of the Vancouver Canucks, but that dialogue's not going away.
You know, if I think about this, if they ask Quinn Hughes, I think the Vancouver ask Dawson Mercer.
Yep, I agree.
That would be one
100%.
right there. They would like to get a defenseman. Honestly, the only defenseman, if the young team, they would ask a Simon Nemec.
Or Casey.
Yeah, but I think for them, if I'm Vancouver, I consider Nemec over Casey, on my opinion. So that would be that only thing. Both of them are honestly right shoulder. That's the number 2. Then maybe a first round pick and return. So it's you have to pay. But again, Dawson Mercer is already Simon Nemec. You don't have to add anything else. Maybe a third round pick. That's pretty much it for Quinn Hughes. But it would be interesting what happening there. We have a question for Steve. I think it's Steve from Colorado, big fan of the Colorado Avalanche. With only $6 million cap space for the Devils, they still need to sign Luke Hughes. Who do they possibly trade? Hamilton, or they still have enough money because Hughes, it could is a second contract, could have a bridge contract maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, so it's another hot topic around the New Jersey Devils. Tom Fitzgerald wants to get him signed. He wants to sign a long-term deal. He wants to have Luke Hughes in New Jersey for a long time. Couple options. You could go short-term deal. Obviously, we saw Bowen Byram in Buffalo just get $6.25 million on a 2-year bridge deal. That's something probably New Jersey doesn't want to look at, but that's probably a starting point at $6.25 million. All indications I've heard from is that it's between $7 and $7.5 million. Now, the caveat is Jonathan Kovacevic had knee surgery at the end of the season after the playoffs. He's probably not going to be ready till December, January earliest. So you can start the year with him on LTIR and really don't have to really move anybody until later on in the season. That gives you the cap space to work with to sign him to a $7.5 million deal, whether it's 6 years, 7 years, whatever. I've heard give him the same contract as Luke Hughes, as Jack Hughes. 5 times 8, but I'm not sure that the Devils see him as an $8 million defenseman. He probably is one. Does he go 5 years at 8 and then he hits it again? Again, everybody looks at Brock Faber, 8 times 8.5. Brock Faber's a little bit better defenseman than Luke Hughes right now, in my opinion. As much as I like Luke Hughes, he still turns the puck over in his own zone. He still makes poor decisions with the puck, and he's still a young guy. He's still developing. Everybody wants to point to Hamilton as a guy that you can trade. Okay, that's great. I'll say this again. I put this on Twitter. I've put this other places. You lost Ryan Graves 1 year. You lost Damon Severson 1 year. You didn't make the playoffs. There's a right shot defensive hole. Now you're going to ask Seamus Casey and Simone Nemec to punch above their weight class while no Jonathan Kovacevic in the lineup. Brett Pesce, you're missing Dougie Hamilton on your power play. I think a guy like Mercer or Palat's going to be the odd man out here. The Devils value Dougie Hamilton too much. He's a right shot defenseman, power play guy, plays 5-on-5. You better be getting a defenseman back that's a right shot defenseman in order to fill that void. I think Hamilton's staying, and I think it's going to be Mercer or it's going to be Palat that's the odd man out if the Devils have to make a trade.
Great comments about that. Remember, a couple of players signed a bridge deal for 3-4 years. Thomas Harley from the Dallas Stars did it in the past. Some go a little bit more deeper, like 6 years. When I look about this, right now the Dallas Stars the Devils have 8 defensemen can play in NHL right now.
Yeah, they do. So somebody's going to be the odd man out there. But like I said, Kovacevic is on LTIR to start the year, so he's not even going to be ready. And Dennis Chowalski is a 7th defenseman that can rotate in when a guy is hurt or a guy needs time off. Like Simone Nemec had a great playoff. Don't get me wrong, he did, but he needs to carry it over. Seamus Casey still needs another year. If the Devils had their way, Seamus Casey and Simone Nemec would both be in the AHL developing another year. If they had, everything set up on their both sides of the left and the right side. So everything they've done this offseason has been hinging on what Luke Hughes is going to get. To me, it comes in at 7.5. I think, what did Matthias Samuelsson signed like 7 times 7.25 in Buffalo or something like that? That could be a comparable contract as well. So again, to me, the Devils have to be smart about this, but I think everybody seems to think Palat and or Mercer is one of the odd men out here because they do need a top 6 forward as well.
Said about the Devils. We want to talk about what happened with the Montreal Canadiens today. They signed Joe Veleno. I think he's 25 years old, if I can recall it properly. Yes. Player where he was drafted 31 overall pick, I believe, by the Detroit Red Wings a couple years ago. Great potential to become a good hockey player in NHL when you play in the QM, everything. And did not find his groove or in NHL with the Detroit Red Wings. Changed right away with Chicago, San Jose, and now he was looking for the job. He got the, a $900,000 from the Montreal Canadiens. And Montreal fill up now a left side. He's not going to win the face-off like Christian Dvorak, or he's not over 50%. So it's only because he's a left side. But also that gem, the Montreal Canadiens, the bottom six right there. So we're going to start with Joe Veleno. Just give us a bit more what your expectation from Joe Veleno and also the Montreal Canadiens. And then we're going to go a little bit more deeper about the team line, everything like that. So give us what you think about him.
I think it's a low risk, high reward signing. Let's be honest. This is kind of out of the playbook for Quinn Hughes. What we've seen over the last year. Same with Jeff Gordon, right? Like they take chances on guys, right? This is kind of like the playbook that we're seeing in Florida too, right? Take chances on guys. Kirby Doc, Alex Newhook, Patrick Laine comes in. Like they're bringing in guys that have chances, that have high upside. And Joe Veleno is one of those guys. Like you said, he never found his groove, right? He got traded. He was part of that Burakovsky trade from Seattle and Chicago, right? And then he got bought out, and now he's a free agent. $900,000, one-way contract. He fits into your bottom six, give you some goals. You lost something with Christian Dvorak not there, right? He'll fill in a nice role. He's got to get his face-offs up, obviously. That's something that he's got to have to work on. But again, he's 25 years old. Maybe he wasn't put in the right spot in Detroit and these other places to succeed. Now, bottom six forward, say he produces. He puts up the goal totals that everybody expected him to do coming out. Maybe he's earned another 1-year contract. How many 1-year contracts did Jonathan Drouin get with Colorado before he kind of got that nice check over with the Islanders? So it's a low risk, high reward type signing. Things they've done in the past in Montreal. I like the signing, to be honest. I think it's a good fit for them.
Yeah, you nailed it about the age. His face-off average last year was 46.9. The year before that, it was about 49. Look, that's really an improve compared to Dak and, of course, a new hook. So that's a good thing about this. And it's like you said, they have nothing to lose. Does not work. Send him in Laval. Someone pick him, claim him. That's okay. If not, he would play with Laval Rocket. Another great addition for the Laval Rocket. Same thing with Sammy Blais, in my opinion. But with that, what's happening now is that move New Hook as a winger on the third line. What I see this one now, Joe Veleno, New Hook, and Bolduc, if it's happened that way. Evans, Anderson, Gallagher at the bottom there. But that gem, Owen Beck, Oliver Kapanen, and Florent Jacquet. When I said that, people say yes, but they need to get win awards, work hard to get the spot, and not to give the spot automatically. I understand that, but do you feel if you are a Laval Rocket player like Beck and Kapanen or Jacquet said, it would be hard to play in the Montreal if they fill up their spot like that? But Montreal was under urgency to get a left center. They don't have anybody, although the fact it was Alex Newhook. So a little bit more fill a hole at this moment at the short term and see what's going to happen with Joe Veleno. But right now, it will be very hard for Owen Beck, Kapanen, or Jacquet to make the Montreal Canadiens roster. At least Joe Veleno, Sammy Blais, have the spot right now in Montreal. The only way they can go to Laval is they're going to lose it by themselves at the training camp. That's what I see this right now. And Montreal have that opportunity to have different players on the upcoming season on the bottom six. So the bottom six will be really good around the Montreal versus other team in NHL.
No, I agree with that. And I think that was an area that the Canadiens really wanted to address this offseason. Their bottom six wasn't the best last year. I mean, it was pretty good, but it still wasn't, it's not Florida levels of bottom six, but their depth scoring is there. I mean, you lose Christian Dvorak, that's tough. Joel Armia, he's there as well. But look, I think that you mentioned Owen Beck, Kapanen, Jacquet. The biggest thing that Montreal can't do is not lose the draft and develop, right? Like, you cannot lose that part of what makes you good. They've been drafting and developing so well. Detroit did this for years. New Jersey did this for years. Tampa did this for years. Johnson, Palat, and Kucherov marinated in the AHL with Syracuse. And then they all came up together with John Cooper, right? They all came up together. Kapanen, Jack Guy, and Beck. Yes, Beck is probably ready for the National Hockey League. But if he gets a half season down there and he comes up because of injury or he comes up because somebody didn't earn the roster spot, that's fine. But I think Kent Hughes and the Montreal Canadiens management really want him to, they want to develop those guys in the AHL a little bit more so they get that experience there, learn their role, and then when they come into Martin St. Louis system, they're ready to go. Like I said, you still have Jake Evans there. You lose Joel Armia. He's out in, Hollywood, Tinseltown, right? So they have roles to fill if guys don't step up, right? But that these young guys are going to come in hungry. Nothing is ever guaranteed, but I agree with you. I think Blais and right now Veleno are guys that, if you're going to say there's an opening night roster, when this team goes to Toronto and play, those guys will be on the roster, probably not Beck and company.
Well said about this, about Veleno. Look, someone said maybe it would be a fail if he go to Laval. I don't see that. I think Laval would be just more stronger to get Joe Veleno. It would be fail for him. Veleno play maybe not his last card, but the time is running against him. That remind me, and I will talk about him Friday night, Joshua Roy. Roy is right now 22, 23 years old now. He is tried to make the NHL, and Joe Veleno is the same boat right now. He wants to stay in NHL. He's been play. Look, guys, he played 65, 81, 80 game, a 34 game his last 4 years. So he's a regular player in NHL. But his best season is 12 goals at 28 points. He playing average, guys, about 12 minutes, 14 minutes per game with the Detroit usually. So he played really at the bottom six. So again, Montreal does not get Sidney Crosby right here. So expectation have to be low. And they just gave them a security card if they need a left center. He had to win this spot with the Montreal Canadiens. It's just an extra players and the depth of the Montreal Canadiens. So 25 years old, like PLW said, like you said, it's young. And we'll see how he's going to do at the training camp. It's a little bit like a PTO, but this counts for him. He have a security of 900,000. Does not work. Does not can claim. He go to Laval, and he will be a good year in Laval. Laval is really good organization to play in American Hockey League.
Super Chat.
We add the Super Chat, Jim. You can look what's going on when you have a Super Chat in the chat. That we get a $2. Here we go.
Woo!
Thank you, Bart. He did it again. Bart scored the first goal of the night at the Hockey Nation Live show. We want to thank Bart. I'm also going to give an assist for Frankie and Leonidis. And I'm going to give this for Mr. Pete Martin, an assist on the first goal of the night. So thanks so much, everybody. A lot of great conversation in the chat, guys. I like it. I feel like one is you do this, Jim, and the chat. They take care about themselves. They talk a lot. They exchange. This is what I'm looking for when I do a live stream. And this is great. Again, if you have any question for Jim, put your little Q. If I did not answer to your question by Jim, by myself, because I didn't see it, I apologize. If you are just pop up at the show, welcome back, everybody. Jim is with us, big popcaster on the YouTube channel. Follow the New Jersey Devils, WWE, right also for the
Full Press Hockey, RG Media, NHLRumors.com, and so much more.
Hey, there you go. That's what I'm going to say at the end is so much more after that. So it's really great to follow him. So great to see that. Going to get a little bit. It's 9, 8, 9, 15, 11. So we have a little bit of time. A couple of news around the NHL, guys, if you don't mind. And we'll see what we got for you tonight on the NHL. Not too much is going on in NHL. You can see what's going on between me and him. You have a big hole there, coach, because Marko was supposed to be there, but he's not there. I'm not going to go deep. about the news, it's just only many signature on the minor league players, but we have one is pop up is Calder Bear. So he's got his entry level contract with the Detroit Red Wings. I believe he was a 14th overall pick by the Detroit at the NHL Draft 2025. It was really recommended by the Montreal Canadiens to get him at the 16th, 17th. It was keep the pick. Calder Bear scored 42 goals in the WHL with the team Everett Silvertip. As really great hockey player, 6 foot only, but he play big every time he's on the ice. He drives to the net, a little bit a style of Gallagher. Good pick for the Detroit Red Wings. Said that, Jim, you're going to get a little bit more information about Calder Bear. But also, I want to give you guys not a Steve Yzerman plan, but what's going on when you get those pick by the by the Detroit, and they still try to find a spot in NHL. Look, Maurice Zader, Lucas Raymond, Marco Kasper, Simon Edvedson. Guys, those players are between 20 to 23 years old. They are right now regular in the lineup for the Detroit Red Wings. And then who is coming? Nygaard, a 15 overall pick in 2024. Nate Danielson, 10 overall pick 2023. Pelinka, I believe, was the second round, or maybe a first round. I cannot remember. Sebastian. We're going to go to Super Stat after that, Jim. $20 for Mark Elliott. Thanks so much for that one. Sébastien Cossa, guy, 19 overall pick, 2021, 2022, or maybe 19, by the way. And then Trey Augustin, goaltender of the national team USA. 2 goaltender there. But before that, we're going to get that Super Chat Mark Elliott. Thank you, Mark. We scored the second goal of the night. Mark Elliott on this one. Thanks so much, Mark, on this great. Peter August we get an assist on that goal. I'm going to give to Nicholas. Why Nicholas? Because Nicholas, guy, is about 3 o'clock a.m. the morning from Sweden, Finland. And he's still with us. So really great to see that. We thank all of you guys. Don't forget, please, to click on the like if you don't mind. Said that. I give you about a couple of minutes. Talk about the Detroit Red Wings. The people in the chat, how you feel about Steve Yzerman? He play his last card of his plan? Can he get fired in Detroit or not? What do you feel about Detroit? Do you expect them to be in the playoff? So the chat sharing your thought about the Detroit Red Wings. And Jim, you know hockey, you know those prospects. Give us what you feel about those names, and of course, a Calder Bear for the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Steve Yzerman is definitely on the hot seat. If it's not hot, it's getting really warm in Detroit because it appears that Dylan Larkin, the captain, is not happy. He wants to, be back in the playoffs. I think his rookie year was the last year he made the playoffs, 2016. You can't go on a decade not making the playoffs. The Montreal Canadiens passed them in the playoff picture last year. Ottawa Senators. Remember, they were in that group, Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo, who was going to make the playoffs first. So many great prospects. Sider, NHL defenseman there. Lucas Raymond got his contract in the top 6 for the Detroit Red Wings. Marco Kasper, top prospect for them. Finally, they played him last year. It was too little, too late. But teams want Kasper. We hear Detroit trying to make trades, trying to move all these players, trying to get guys. But teams are calling. They're like, they want Sider, they want Raymond, they want Kasper, they want Edmondson, they want guys like that, Pelican, right? They want Axel Sandin Pelican. So, I mean, Detroit's not giving up those players. Steve Yzerman doesn't want to give up those players, but the teams that they're talking to don't want JT Compher or Andrew Kopp. The contracts that he signed early on to bring in those guys are not paying off. Now he's trying to unload them, but Detroit is on the hot seat. And Detroit needs to make the playoffs because if they don't make the playoffs, I think there's going to be change in Detroit. I think Steve Yzerman might be on his last card and might be on his last, chance in Detroit. I always say this. I think he gets credit in Tampa, as he should, but he walked into Stamkos and Hedman. And they were able to draft and develop Kucherov and Vasilevsky and Tyler Johnson and Andre Palat. They don't have those guys in Detroit. And all the guys that he wanted to go into after, said that, we couldn't get them because they all stayed at home. I don't think Trey Augustine will be with the Detroit Red Wings. I think he went back to college and he becomes a free agent at the end of the year because I think his 3 years with the team after the being drafted is up for his rights. So he'll become a free agent and he can go someplace else. And that's a major miss by the Detroit Red Wings to not get him signed. That's a major miss because I've seen Trey Augustine play for Team USA at World Juniors. He's a really good goaltender, and that's a major miss. And Sebastian Costa hasn't even seen much NHL time right now, and he was supposed to be the guy of the future. But they're bringing in John Gibson and bringing all these goalies. And how many goalies has Steve Yzerman traded for and missed on? He's got to hope Gibson is right on this one, or else, he could be looking for another job. Similar to his buddy out in Anaheim. We don't know what Pat Verbeek's doing right now, but Steve Yzerman, it kind of tells me that, if you watch some of his press conference, and I know I'm going long here, but if you look at the press conference and some of the questions he's got, when you're saying you're daydreaming, do you really want to be in Detroit anymore? I'm just asking you, Steve. It's just the vibes that I'm getting don't feel like you want to be there. But when your captain and says the morale was low at the trade deadline because you didn't do anything, but you say you could do stuff, but you didn't want to move players, again, what's going on in Detroit? The rebuild's got to be over. It's time to make the playoffs in Detroit because not this past season, but the year before, they lost out in a tiebreaker and were in the playoffs, but Washington won because of regulation wins. They were tied with the same amount of points. So I think it's time. This is a big year for Detroit.
Great point about that. I think Detroit have no tomorrow. They have to produce now. They have to make the playoff. The patience of the Red Wings fans is amazing, to be honest with you. They trust Steve Yzerman, but right now, he have to figure out because this is going to be possible. Maybe his last year, maybe his last season with the team. If the teams get at the bottom of the Atlantic Division, they have some good players over there, but they cannot find a way to make the playoff. I believe 2 years ago there was only 1 point behind, if I can recall it. Properly, I think they missed the playoff by 1 point or 2 points. Not last season, but the year before that. But again, the Yzerman plan or Yzer plan have to get better for the upcoming season. I like their prospect, right? I think Nigar, Danielson, and Billy Carr is going to be solid prospect. Kosa get better for the last 2 seasons in the American Hockey League after a really bad disaster opening career in the American Hockey League. Won to East Coast Hockey League for 1 year and a half, I believe. Augustin is playing NCAA the last couple of years. Good goaltender, but both Augustin is only 6 foot. So anyway, we'll see what happening with the Detroit Red Wings for sure for the upcoming season. I want to go to another team, and we're going to see at the Classic. And I know he's going to be very happy because RDP is a big fan of the Buffalo Sabres. And we talk about the Bowen at Biram. It's not Biram, but I apologize for that one. But it's Biram. We know that. Sign a contract of the 2 years at 6.25. I'm going to give you a little bit the same thing I did with Detroit, guys. Sabres turn around. Merca, Power, Benson, Quinn, Kulich, Elinius, Wildbird. You know what they trade for the last couple of years. Peter Eka could be that one, everything. Their prospect has always been huge because the team does not do well on the standing. But I want to mention 2 things here. First, the BRAM contract at 6.25. I believe this is really good, both parties. What I said that is really, you can trade a player with that kind of contract at 6.25, I believe. It's only 2 years anyway. Second thing, that stabilizes a bit the defensive of the Buffalo Sabres. They don't get what they are looking for. They try maybe to trade him or not. I'm not sure. They avoid the arbitration. That's a good thing. And then we'll see they're going to trade him at some point. And the bank of the players for the Buffalo Sabres is not too bad. Most of them play in the American, Rochester American. We saw them all year long with the Rocket. But how you feel about Buffalo Sabres? I don't see them in the playoff for the upcoming season whatsoever. They make some change overall. This team is still going to be on the bottom. I don't know how they can keep Kevin Adams. Is it the culture? Is it the coach? Is it the staff? What's going on over there, Mr. Jim?
Yeah, no, I mean, Buffalo, look, it's going to be 15 years now. They don't make the playoffs. Like, that's a little long time for them not to make the playoffs because it's going to be 15 years. I said going in pre-show last year, I said 14, then it's going to be 15. Unless by some miracle they get into the playoffs. But look, Bo Byram, it's a great contract. I heard a lot of people talking. I put it a quick nightcap recap out on my Instagram and Twitter the other day when I was still in Vermont when this came through, or I just got back home when this came through, I should say. And I said it's still very tradable, like you said. It's still a very tradable contract. They're going to try him on the top pair with Dahlin because he could play the other side, but something's got to change in Buffalo. Look, you have Kevin Adams, who was a finance guy, general manager. I don't understand it. The Pagulas have the Buffalo Bills turned around. There's no Josh Allen on this team, but there's a lot of great talent. You had multiple first-round picks in defensemen in Dahlin and Power, right? You have Tage Thompson there. Alex Tuck is there. You traded Dylan Cousins, right? But you got Josh Norris. If Josh Norris can stay healthy, that's a good center. Jack Quinn's a really good player. You have guys like Wahlberg and Hellenius, guys coming. But they never got the goaltending right after Omark left, right? They said, oh, it's going to be UPL and Levi, but Levi wasn't ready, and they never signed a true veteran. Then you bring back Lindy Ruff after you got rid of him. It's just an acceptance culture of losing in Buffalo. Kevin Adams, to me, doesn't know what he's doing. And that's just my opinion. I'm not in that room. But when you're only getting, Byram obviously went to salary arbitration. He elected to go there, so the team got to pick the term, which is 2 years. It's a very good deal. But again, I still think Byram, the saga's not over in Buffalo with Byram. I still think he could be traded. And, they were trying to get something done with St. Louis. It fell through. Kevin Adams is afraid to make moves right now. That's why he was afraid to make the Dylan Cousins move until he made the move with Ottawa. I think he's afraid to move some of these players because, they could go someplace else and be successful. Yeah, they have, but you got to change the culture in Buffalo. Montreal basically come out and said after they made that final the 1 year, hey, it's going to be some hard times. Fans accepted it. And players are starting to want to come to Montreal now. You're going to have to start getting players to come to Buffalo again because you can't be irrelevant. And that's what the Buffalo Sabres have become, irrelevant. They have great players. They have good young players. But the biggest thing that helped the Buffalo Sabres during their run with Briere and company and Drury was they had that lockout. They could all grow together in the AHL. Too many of these guys have been brought to the NHL too quickly. And we said it. Oh, number one pick's Owen Power. He's got to play. He's a number one pick. Well, does he? Because, in my opinion, this year with the Islanders has a similar situation when it comes to Matthew Schaefer. To me, I don't think he should be playing in the National Hockey League this year. I think if he signs his ELC, he's going back to junior if he doesn't make the team. But if he doesn't, he's eligible to go play college hockey. Take the year to develop. Defensemen take a long time to develop. And Buffalo's got to change their culture. Like, they can't be afraid to make moves anymore.
Well said about them. People fire up in the chat over there. That's great. I try to answer everybody at the same time. We welcome all of you guys. Hopefully you're doing well. All the new people pop up. Don't forget, guys, to subscribe and click on the likes. Smash that button if you don't mind. That'd be great. Great comments, Jim, about the Buffalo Sabres. I think for me, that's the culture. I think this stuff right there from the owners. Owners love hockey. Owners been great for the Penn State University. Built that program, gave what, $50, $80 million, I believe I can recall it, that number. But at the NHL level, guys, he's involved. We go around every time. He looked like a nice guy. He just does not have the right culture for that thing with Kevin Adams. Whatsoever Kevin did, under Kevin Adams, we see 3 channel go the coach, everything like that. Inconsistency, keep the players, trade the player well. Look, Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart, Brendan Montour, Ulmark, and I can go all the way like this, guys. You know what I'm talking about. So you have great players play with Buffalo. They got trade. What they got in return, it was not good enough to make them in the playoff. So somehow, and I don't know the answer, Jim, maybe nobody knows, they have a problem from somewhere. And I don't know, is the owners, the staff, hockey operation, the player coaching development. I don't know, but it's unbelievable or not make sense to me. 15 years with all the draft pick, all the player they got, everything, and they still cannot make at least a push for the playoff. It's not make sense to me. Yeah, it's deeper problem inside of that organization. 1 minute, Jim, before we move on.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it's a combination of everything. Maybe it is time for the Pagulas to sell the Sabres, and maybe get an owner in there and get the right culture in there, because you can't accept losing anymore. Like, you can't. And Buffalo's just accepting mediocrity and losing.
You're right about this. We're going to move on, guys, for the Montreal Canadiens. I have a subject at the end. If we have time, we're going to get there, Jim, if you don't mind. Before that, with the middle of the show right now, we're going to give you, Jim, we're going to put you on the hot seat tonight. And we're going to get the question of the night, if you don't mind, Jim. And you're going to give us your answer and the people in the chat. And we'll see if you nail it tonight or not. With all the knowledge, we miss a lot of questions anyway. But how you feel about that? How many players have been granted exceptional status to play at the CHL at age of 15? So a player exceptional status is a player can play in the QM or the WHL or the CHL under 16 years old, so at 15 years old. So how many of them play in the CHL?
It's not many. I remember seeing this stat somewhere. I'll say 10.
10. Okay. We have 2 in the chat. We have 4 in the chat. We have 5 in the chat. On the 10, you said, Jim, can you give me name? Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who knows?
Was McDavid given exceptional status?
Who?
Was McDavid given exceptional status to play in? No. Connor McDavid. Was McDavid given exceptional? Yeah, McDavid. Yeah. Okay, McDavid's definitely one of them. God, I wasn't even watching CHL when this happened. I don't even know if he played. I don't even know if was Gretzky given exceptional status in the CHL.
Who?
Gretzky? Was Gretzky given exceptional status? No, he wasn't. No.
To surprise everybody, guys, Joe Veleno was one of them.
Joe Veleno, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so far, guys, in the chat, we don't have the right answer until right here. We got it, guys. One guy did it, so can we get this? Like, you was really close, Mr. Jim. We have 2 people now get it. And the answer, guys, is you don't see it anymore because he's under there, because I changed my graphic with Marko. The answer, guys, is 9 on that one. GF is the first one to get it, guys. GF is the winner of the contest tonight. Congratulations on that one. Now, I don't have all the list, but John Tavares, Connor McDavid.
Yep, but
Joe Veleno. The kid Dupont with Everett. It's the first name Dupont, the defenseman. Jeez, I forget his first name right now. Lance Dupont. He starts with the L, but Dupont is one of them. Connor Bedard, if I can recall it. One name, guys, if you get that one, because I don't know where he played. 15 years old, he was an exception, is Shane Wright, by the way. Shane Wright was one of them. Sean D. Who knows Sean Day? D-A-Y. I don't know who he is, honestly. It was an exception about this. I'm missing maybe 2 of them right now. So I just want to share with you guys that 9 was the answer about this one. I don't think Sidney Crosby was one of them because Crosby was played with Shaddocks and on the AAA program, St. Mary's Shaddocks AAA program. So I think he came after that a little bit late. Aaron Ekblad A2. Hold on, guys. I'm going to give you this because I'm going to get that right there here. If you don't mind, Jim, you're going to get the order right. No, I forgot this one. too many things. AI, my GPT, Master Jim, my savior of my life right now. But I cannot get it, the answer. I make too many things about that for that answer. So I apologize, guys. I don't want to pick up waste time with that. But the answer was 9. So Jim, yours at 10. That was pretty close about
I
that.
was only off by 1. That's not bad.
That's
not bad. I'll
And,
take that.
we cannot to go right there. Let's go more for the Montreal Canadiens news. We don't already know what's going on about Joe Veleno. A lot of people in the chat talk about the impact of Joe Veleno and the Montreal Canadiens, their debt, everything like that. So the scenario I want to propose to you, Jim, for people in the chat. You have already New Hook, Bolduc, Joe Veleno, Jake Evans, Sammy Blais, Josh Anderson, and Brendan Gallagher. Now, you can make some move on your line, up and down, and Owen Beck or Oliver Kapanen. I don't think so, Florent Jekai, but you can add Jekai if you want to. If I give you tonight maybe the impact of that situation, I know Veleno need to win his spot like Owen Beck or anybody else, but what would be your bottom 6 tonight?
My bottom 6 tonight would probably be what we were talking about before, with Blais in there, with Joe Veleno, because he's right there. Obviously Evans, you have Gallagher, you have Anderson. You're probably going to want to go with a proven bottom 6 right there, and Veleno is one of those guys, right? Like and Bolduc obviously is there as well. But and as we talked about last time I was on, Bolduc can go up and down the lineup. So, and that's why, Jeff Gordon has loved this kid since the day he was drafted, right? And he probably was, when they were working on that deal, he probably had Kent Hughes here on that one. Be like, hey, can you get Bolduc out of this? Because he really likes him. But that would probably be my bottom 6 to start, right? You have Bolduc, you'll have Veleno, you'll have Sammy Blais in there. The combination depends on where Evans is, depends on where Blais is. But I think you're going to start with a proven NHL lineup to begin the year. Remember, like, this is the year that the Montreal Canadiens, according to the plan, and if you followed this team since these guys got there, this was the year that they were supposed to take that next step for playoffs, right? Because I believe the new extensions kick in for everybody. You got it, especially Slavkovsky and Goulet. This is the time for them. They got to make that impact, right? And this is what I would do in the bottom 6. I would keep these guys until somebody falls out. Unless Kapanen prove otherwise in training camp, I think that's who you're going with on the opening night roster.
For the Montreal Canadiens, when you talk about this, Jim, the bottom 6 Montreal was really good last year. We talk about Devorek, Armia, and Eman, right? It's the 3 piece now out in the Montreal Canadiens. So you remove them. You put now Bolduc, it will be one of them. Now you have Veleno right there. And then you have Sammy Blais going to take the spot over Pesada, but he's going to be at the bottom. You have to add at least one of the two, Kapanen or Beck, are going to make the team for the Montreal Canadiens. No doubt in my mind. I think they're going to keep a young player around. Said that, both of them are exempt of waiver, so they can go up and down. Something of an injury. But after that, think about this, Jim. Who guarantee line A will going to be on the second line, right? You never know. They could be at the bottom 6 and then move up. Bolduc, example, with Dak and Demidov. So they have a lot of card in front of him. Martin Saint-Louis can move. Everybody in the chat could put your bottom 6. I asked that question because the last couple of days with my video. But still, they have to win their spot. And compared from last year, finally, or a couple of years ago, we have finally couple of battles to get a spot in the NHL. That's what I like right now. That show Montreal Canadiens are different. They have different ways they was before. They are now find a way to get those kind of battles. It's going to be more and more for the next couple of years. So I think overall, I like that signature. No risk at the end of the day. And he's only 25. He had more chance to become good overall and to be bad that with Joe Veleno. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. Look, I think this is, we saw this over the last couple of years at Montreal. Like, if this was a couple of years ago, we're probably saying Beck and we're probably saying Kapanen are on this team and probably playing right away, right? And that's where they're going to learn, but they don't have to, right? It's okay if they sit and watch, but again, like you said, they're waiver exempt. They don't have to. You don't have to worry about losing these guys, but you can't let them sit too long, right? If one of them makes the team, they have to play eventually. They can't sit for 20 games and just be the 13th guy like that. And then you're gonna have to find somebody that who you believe is close to being ready, that can sit games and just come in and out of the lineup. And you're gonna need Beck and Kapanen to play. But I do agree. I think one of them is going to make the roster because I think they're that good, and I think Beck is getting really close to being ready for Montreal to play. And would it shock me if he's in the opening night roster? No, but I've liked the way he's played. And I think Montreal, again, like you said, you have these battles. That means you have depth on this team. And that's what they've always want to create. You want to have more depth, which allows for more battles, internal battles to happen. And we got to throw this in. I don't know if Montreal will do it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But don't forget, maybe they add a guy that's hanging around free agency, PTO, bring him in, see what he looks like in camp. We got to factor that scenario in as well.
You're right about this. Some people talk about the fact like they expect maybe a trade again by Quinn Hughes. Do you see this coming from the Montreal Canadiens? Other effect possible Carey Price contract after September. We're going to talk about this Friday night. But do you see Quinn Hughes make some move?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're not done yet, to be honest. I think, in my opinion, I think they're still looking for. I think half the league's looking for top six forward, but I think Kent Hughes and the Montreal Canadiens are still scouring what they can find. Maybe they can go back to some deals they've been looking at, who they can bring in, because I don't think they're done. That would be negligent of a general manager and executive vice president not to keep trying to improve his teams and just say, okay, my job's done for now. It's time to go hit the fishing hole and hit the beach and go to my beach house. I think his phone's ready. I think his phone's ringing, and I think they're going to make a move. I think this is always the time where there's that lull in July, right? We come off the high of the Stanley Cup. We go into the draft, free agency. Everything's so compact. Nobody has time to breathe. Remember, the Matthew Tkachuk trade, I believe, happened at the end of July. So, and the Patrick Laine thing happened last year around August, right? That trade. So I expect things to pick up at the end of July, early August. And I would not be shocked if Montreal swings for the fences, because I think they swung for the fence and got their big headline move with Noah Dobson. But would it shock me if they bring in another middle six guy? No.
Yeah. My feeling for Jim is I don't see Montreal move.
No?
I don't see that. I don't expect they move. I think they're going to start this organically, what they have. I think they're going to keep the young player development for upcoming season. They feel good now with Joe Veleno on the left side. Now they have a possibility of good 14 forward for upcoming season. I think they're going to take another potential one more year for Kirby Dach. And if that the reason I said that, I just remember they trade Kovacevic last year to the Devils. And the reason behind that, it was just open spot for Rebecca and Justin Barron. They feel good about Justin Barron and David Rebecca. Rebecca got hurt, missed the season. Barron never played on the full expectation. The right side of Montreal is struggling for the first 2-3 months. And then you can see the bad start of Montreal, first exhibition game. Then I think at some point it was 5-9-2, and they was at the bottom of 5-11-2, and they was at the bottom of the standing in the NHL. And then they fix it. They trade for Alex Carrier for Justin Barron at the December. That's changed completely after that, with the Patrick Laine in the lineup in December, changed everything. But my point, they could start with this Jim, and then maybe December. So we need to fix this problem. So this is my feeling about that. What I said, I don't see Montreal make a trade. Could be wrong. Honestly, I'd be wrong. It's not. It's happened a lot of time. But this is my feeling about Quinn Hughes. You want to add something else there?
No, I just think, the only trade that you could probably see would be maybe after Carey Price's signing bonus gets paid in September. Maybe they try to move out that contract, open up the space. But then again, they could use it. They've been operating LTIR for a while, but I think they need to come out of that if they want to start adding some more players and being competitive. I think that's something that, for me, that's something that they're going to have to look at. I could see that scenario. I'm not going to disagree with it because I think it's a possibility. I just think, the way Kent Hughes has talked and the way Jeff Gordon has been talking, I think Montreal is waiting in the weeds to see maybe if something to their liking comes available, and maybe they can strike to get something. But again, they made the Joe Veleno deal today. Maybe that's their only other move this offseason, but something tells me that they're still working the phones and seeing maybe they could get a deal for another forward up front that can help them without giving up, one of their top prospects. Obviously, they made the Mailloux trade for Bolduc, but obviously Reinbacher's there. He's going to get an opportunity to play as well.
Great point about that. We're going to talk the next subject, guys. A lot of conversation that chat. Some people, yes, they are agreed they're going to make waiting. Some they are said no, they're going to make a trade. Some they only have one player rookie is going to start with the Montreal Canadiens the upcoming season. Billy is in the house. Frank also say Veleno is the bottom six. Exactly, Steve G. Sometimes as the fans, we no expectation, but we evaluate player a little bit more higher at who they are as a fans, right? That's what I see. We have a question for you earlier. Who was your favorite Devils players from the modern era for you for the Devils, Jim? That's what's coming for Frank from Frank. If I'm right or if I can record it properly, I think I'm right.
I know I saw a question in there about my favorite Devils era. If there was one about my favorite Devils player too, I'll answer that as well. Obviously, I grew up when they won, so I think one of my favorite teams has got to be the team, like the 2000 team. Obviously, Patrick Elias, Jason Arnott, Sikora. That line was just so dominant. I always say this, and I'll stand by this: the team that lost in 2001 was better than the team that won in 2000. Because just the way they dominated offensively and defensively, you couldn't beat that team. I think, it's easy to say if I look at the wall across from in my studio, I could pick, Niedermeyer, Danico, Stevens, all the guys that have retired numbers. But I always was drawn to this guy for some reason. Always loved the way he played. He's a former Hab, so that tells you something. Stéphane Richer was one of my favorite players growing up as a Devils fan. When I could remember watching hockey, he had just come over from Montreal, and I think it was early 90s, like 91 he came in because John McLean got hurt, and they brought him in, and I always just loved the way he skated, the way he played, had a nose for the net, could score anywhere. I was always a fan of Stéphane Richer. He was one of my favorite players to watch when I was a kid. Obviously, like I said, Patrick Elias, he's a great Devil, Scotty Gomez, and, congratulations finally to Alexander McGillney. I think that was a great pickup by Lou Lamoriello when they won the Cup in 2000, revitalized McGillney's career and got him a Stanley Cup. That's something he really deserved and worked hard for. An electric goal scorer. So many great players that have come through New Jersey. Obviously, Niedermeyer, their back end has been unbelievable. Brodeur, I mean, one of the best goalies around. I mean, you look at the debate. It's always Hasek, Brodeur, or Waugh. So I mean, the Devils had so many good players, John McLean. The list goes on of guys that have played. So to me, I think I got to throw it out there. But Stéphane Richer was really my guy growing up as a kid, and then obviously he moved on, and I started to like other guys.
You're right. You nailed it, Jim. If they ask me this question, who will be your favorite players? I will say to you, Patrick Elias. I nailed it 100% about that. Look, this guy was unbelievable. Not say was Pavel Tkachuk, but what he did for the Devils was amazing for him. Then Scott Niedermeyer, honestly, from Nicholas, I agree with him also for that part. So We have a couple of questions. Ron, I answer you. We're going to talk more about this Friday night, if you don't mind, of course. And we have a couple of players, people talking in the chat. I missed now. I cannot remember what it was. Someone asking me this question. Not question, but the action, that one over there. Oh, all right. Rumor for Mason McTavish. I want you to give us the overview of what's going on with Anaheim Ducks about Mason McTavish, because the rumor is getting hot in NHL. How you see that? How you see the development of that? Is it another Trevor Zegras case? We know Pat Verbeek learned from Steve Eiserman is a tough negotiator, and his assistant GM John, whatever his last name, is tougher. We know what happening with Zegras. How you feel about it? What do you see the development of Mason McTavish in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I know he's going to arbitration and hopefully try to resolve it before it goes to arbitration. That never goes well for player or team. I don't know what Pat Verbeek's doing, but Mason McTavish was a really good hockey player for this team this last couple of years, right? He got them they had a 21-point jump this last season, right? You looked at it. McTavish was a big part of it. Owen Zellweger on the back end as well. But McTavish, for some reason, his name continues to come up in trade conversation. And I know he has salary arbitration and he's going there, but it feels like it is another Trevor Zegras. Zegras and don't forget, Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale signed right before the season started. Like they missed most of training camp. And that didn't bode well for both. And you knew it was going to be an issue for both players that they would get hurt or they would miss time because you never want to go in training camp without playing. And you saw it last year, with Boston, right? He 52 points, 22 goals, 30 assists this past year. He's played really well for Anaheim. He's going to ask for a big contract, right? They're going to have to sign him 2-year deal. Maybe they can settle outside of that. It's definitely going to be a bridge deal, but the issue is it feels like we're going down this road with Trevor Zegras again about is he really a Pat Verbeek guy? And it tells me this is another thing for me too. If McTavish goes, if Zellweger goes, if guys they drafted start get traded by Verbeek and you bring in Joel Quenneville, then what was the point of bringing in Joel Quenneville? And you're losing all this young talent. You should have just got David Carl because he was the better choice. I know he probably wasn't going to leave Denver, but he had a great chance to develop that young Ducks team because he's so good with young players. To me, I think McTavish is a player they can't afford to lose, but you're bringing in all this NHL talent to play, center. Now he's on a third line. He doesn't need to be on the third line. He's a second line center, and this is where a lot of these GMs mismanage and a lot of these coaches mismanage these players. Oh, well, they're not developing the right way. Well, why aren't you playing on where he's supposed to be playing? And I just look at Mason McTavish as a guy that this contract should have been done already. And he should have been signed. The extension should have been done. And now we're getting into mid-July, and we could go to the arbitration hearing. And there's a good chance that he could be gone, right? Maybe he signs the long-term deal, but it could be a PK Subban situation that we saw in Montreal. That arbitration and that bridge deal did not do wonders and go over well with Subban. I'll tell you that. So I think that we're going down that road with McTavish, again, with Zegras and everything. I know everybody says, oh, you can't make that comparison. Well, you can because it's clearly Pat Verbeek doing something to not allow these guys to sign these deals right away.
Great comment about that. First of all, they sign a couple of veterans. They trade for veterans. This is hopefully for Anaheim Ducks, it will work. For the last couple of years, they get a contract for Kudos. Now they got Trouba last year. Then this summer, they got Grader. Now they got also Grenland. And that push right now, McTavish may be out. I don't think he would be out at the top 6. He's a bit concerned about his steward. They already the veteran killer a couple of years ago. The cost and return be huge. And the people say Montreal can maybe take him. I don't see that, guys. Montreal is not the only team, Jim, are running after McTavish, right? We talk about Rangers, Detroit. We have 6, 7 teams. So when you
Calgary can go after him. Calgary, New Jersey team. Everybody's looking for that type of player.
Exactly. So when you do that, the price is higher, right? It's not like he will get Doc and New Hook or second round pick, first round pick, and maybe a Strobel. You're not going to get there. To get McTavish, guys, you have to start with Kid and Coley right there at the beginning. If it's not, you have to start with a Sakaski or something like that. You're not going to get McTavish for nothing for Bat Verbeek. Forget about this. They don't have to trade him. It's just if the price is right. And again, they will wait until then. I still believe he will stay home. They will get him maybe a bridge contract, maybe a 1 year at $6 million. First, second, late. Don't worry about offer sheet. They have money over there. They still have $20 million. It's not a problem to sign him at the end of the day, Jim. I think it's more about McTavish want to be sure the role inside of that team, and the team want to be sure they have a role for him at the same time. Guys, they are Leo Carlson over there too. We don't talk about him.
Yeah.
This is their best prospect, I believe, in my opinion, right there on this organization, on this team. And I'm that are fun to watch. It's a good team. The defense guys core, if not, maybe like Jackson Lacombe, Pavel Mitchikov, you have Tristan Luneau, you have Owen Zellweger, Drew Allison. You talk about Montreal Canadiens with Hudson, and then you have Goalie and Rebacker. But look, the Anam Ducks, they are solid. The goaltenders at Dostal is a good. Anam Duck is going to be a solid team in the next 3 years in NHL. I think they have a great prospect over there. So we'll see what's happening there. But that's what's happening about Mason McTavish. Now, I want to bring you guys another way. I think it's fun to say that in July. It's open up, Jim, right? You know what's going on. But Ivan Demidov, let's talk about him. Demidov, Calder Trophy. If you got like PLW, like to put the money on different things, a projection, everything like that, he's projected to be the number one can possible win the Calder Trophy. Before I tell you other name could win the trophy, will give him a good race. Tell us about what you feel about Ivan Demidov. For what you saw in KHL, for what you saw during the 7th game with the Montreal Canadiens, what are your expectations? What is transition in NHL? Who you look like Demidov for you?
Look, I think Demidov is great. I think the fact that they got him over earlier than expected is huge, right? He got adjusted 7 games in. I thought he played well in the KHL for the limited ice time that he had with that team. And, you know, the role with Montreal, obviously on the power play, I've talked about this, right? I believe we were talking about this last time. On one of the power play units, you have Line and Demidov opposite each other, right? So that to me is huge. He can play there. You know, obviously he can move the puck. We know how gifted he is with the puck, the skill set that he has. You know, he's got to get a little bit better defensively, but that's okay. That's going to take time. I think that's another thing that these coaches do, right? They try to force them into this box, this defensive box right away. Let him develop his offensive game. Let him adjust to the NHL playing his way, and then you bring in the defense, right? That's what you have to do with Demidov, because if you try to box him in to a certain style, it's going to be a Michkov situation in Philadelphia that you saw with Tortorella, and then Michkov really opened up after he left and became the player that we all knew he could be. So I think you let him do his thing. You put guys defensively responsible around him. Obviously, Line A is Line A, but if he can learn how to play his role, win the battles, I think this is going to be a good player. I could definitely see him winning Calder Trophy. He could put up 50, 60 points this season, maybe more, right? The expectations, like you said before, fans have really, really high expectations, but I think Ivan Demidov is a really good difference maker for this team, for the Montreal Canadiens. I really like this player. I really like what I saw, like I said, in the KHL, but what I saw in the 7 games, especially in the playoffs for Montreal, it tells me the talent's there. He's just got to get used to playing the North American style, and once he does that, he's going to be fine. Some guys come over from Russia and they can't transition. Demidov's not one of those guys. He's going to be perfect for this Canadiens team this season.
Great comment about Demidov. Look, yeah, people follow me. They know I've watched all the game. I was live all the time to talk about Demidov. I watched him with Montreal Canadiens, 7 game, 4 point. Great experience for the Montreal Canadiens to see him perform. Look, the guy is skilled. He's talented. I know yesterday I talked about some people compare him to Kaprizov or Kucherov. He's a type of player for me. he's going to be the best player for the Montreal Canadiens the next 3 years. He will be better as Suzuki. This is a guy who can reach the 3-digit at the end of this at some point during his career. Not the type of Jack Hughes, because Jack Hughes is really speed, right? The speed of Jack Hughes is phenomenal. But Demidov is hands, his hockey IQ, his style is very different, but is so good. This year, Demidov started number 1. Last year, if you put $5 on Lane Hudson to get the Calder Trophy, you make more money. With Demidov, you're not going to make more money this year. I apologize for all of you guys you want to put. You have to double your money if you want to get that kind of money for sure for the Montreal game. Now, I'm going to give you some name, if you don't mind, and give us a little bit more information about those players. They are, for me, players could win the Calder Trophy and have a wild card players. So let's have a game like this, if you don't mind. And let's start with the Minnesota Wild. Zeb Biom, 12 overall pick 2 years ago by the Minnesota Wild. I believe for me, it was the steal of the draft pick last 2 years ago. I don't know why nobody see him. And understand, I think the Ottawa Senator with Carter Yakinchuk is a great defenseman. I love the kid, 6'3", good slap shot. But guys, the Wild with Zeb Biom was a steal, I believe.
Yeah, he's been great. The transition he's made from college hockey to the NHL has been great. Again, Minnesota is loaded with defense talent, right? They picked don't forget they have David Jiricek too, right? So you got Faber, Jiricek, Bouillon. Bouillon was so good when he played college hockey. It's fit right in with the Minnesota Wild. This kid is special. I mean, he could challenge Demidov for the Calder Trophy, right? Like, he's one of those special defensemen like Lane Hudson. That's who I see Bouillon as. Like, he's really good, right? And before you asked me who I think, you mentioned it before, like when you compare like Demidov's like hand and IQ, that reminds me of like Patrick Kane when he was with Chicago. Like, just the skill set that he has, Demidov. Like, to me, you had the Patrick Kane stuff. But I think, to me, if you look at the guys that could really challenge in here, Snuggerud and Bouillon are two guys to me that could really challenge Demidov this year, especially Jimmy Snuggerud. I watched him play USA hockey with the Blues, right? This kid's unbelievable. The talent, the skill set, the IQ, the shot, the vision, the speed. Like, he could fit in to the top 6 in the St. Louis Blues this season. He played last year a little bit for St. Louis, really impressive in playoffs, and then ended a regular season. He's going to be a player for the St. Louis Blues this year.
Yeah, me, I love Biom. I see him with Denver University. I think Steve G in the chat is a big fan on that one over there. So
he won a national title with Denver, I believe.
Yeah. So he was with Denver University for a couple of years. His brother drafted by the Detroit Red Wings, if I can recall it also. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right about this. Good hockey player too. Zane Parrott, if he stopped with the Calgary Flame, I don't know, Randy, hear about him, if he's going to get there, if he's going to play with them.
I believe that he's on track to play with the Calgary Flames this year. He's going to get every opportunity to come and play this year, especially if they decide to move Rasmus Anderson before the start of the season. He's going to get every opportunity to make the Calgary Flames out of training camp this year. That's the word out of Calgary, that he's going to get every opportunity to play. And I think that's why Anderson kind of sees the writing on the wall that he's going to be not replaced, but that's the guy that could come in and fill his role. So I think Zane Parrott could get a real good shot with the Calgary Flames this year. Will he stick the whole season? We'll find out. But I think he's going to get every opportunity to make the team.
Yeah. Calgary Flame talk with a Dallas Star for Rasmus Anderson versus Jacob Robinson.
I don't know if I'm making that deal. If I'm the
it's not
Dallas
1-1
Stars.
about this. Maybe Randy can talk about this, but that would be very interesting what happening about this if it's happening. So it's a good start for make a trade for that. Can Detroit carry as Connor? Is it Connor Zary?
Connor Zary, yeah.
Yeah. they can make a trade for Robinson. We'll see what happening about this one. We'll mention about that. People ask Marko Misa, maybe you know more. He's not in the NCAA for the upcoming season.
Who, Michael Misa?
Huh? Or I'm wrong.
I don't know if he signed with the team yet. I don't know if he signed the college team yet.
I'm not. Yeah, so many.
I know. McKenna signed with Penn State. Porter Martone's going to Penn State. I don't know if Michael Misa signed with the team yet. I don't know if he signed with the college
I try
team
to
yet.
remember. I did not look about. I have to look of the elite prospect, honestly, but I'll be surprised. Isaac Howard with Edmonton Oilers. I think nobody talk about him. I think if he play on the top six, could get a lot of point with there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, we talked about him last time. Somebody brought up in the chat, one of the questions was about the trade, the prospect, the 1-for-1 trade, what we could get for Isaac Howard. Isaac Howard, very good player out of Michigan State. That's going to be a tough loss for them. He signed his entry-level deal with the Edmonton Oilers after the trade, so he can't go back to college anymore. So he's going to given every opportunity to make this team. If he plays in the top six, if he plays with guys like Draisaitl and McDavid, those point numbers are going to go up. I think he's a really good player, and I think he's going to fit in perfectly with the Edmonton Oilers. That's a really good get that they got from the Tampa Bay Lightning. I really like this player. I watched him play Michigan State. I think he's a really good player, and I was very surprised Tampa couldn't get it done with this kid, but that sometimes happens with these contracts, right? These young players, the signing bonuses. If you looked at the way Isaac Howard's contract structured with the Oilers, it was similar to what Tampa was trying to do, but they just couldn't fit him into the cap.
Alexander Nishikin for the Carolina Hurricane. If he plays on the top four, honestly, do you think he have a chance to win that?
I don't know. I think it could be on the bottom of this. Like, it all depends on how Carolina uses him and utilizes him. Like, he signed his entry-level deal before the playoffs last year, and he barely got into games. And he didn't play that much, and he probably should have, right? I think he signed some in the New Jersey series. Before the New Jersey series, he came over, but he didn't really play that much, and he didn't play much against Florida, and they could have used him. It all depends on how Rod Brind'Amour utilizes him and how the points he has in his plus minus. I think he's a really good prospect. He's a great get. Carolina needed to get him over, but there were some whispers that he wasn't happy with the things were going in Carolina, and he didn't even start yet. So I think, to me, like, I think he would be on the bottom of my list for guys to win Calder Trophy, to be honest.
Now take a note about the Carolina Hurricane guys. The left side is great. You have Slavin, Andre Miller. You can have Nishikin there, Mike Riley. The left side. On the right side, the best defenseman right now is Chatfield. So it's not great on the right side. So Nishikin, for me, he would try to play on the right side over there. He's a great defenseman. For me, was the best defenseman the last 3 years in the KHL. Really good on the defensive side. He can carry on the puck very well. I think, for me, I watched him all year long. He was the best of the best in the KHL. He's really a good dominant defenseman. To get the Calder Trophy, I'm not sure about that, but I think he's going to be a possible to be at the top 10 over there. Finally, we're going to go on the super chat before we move on for Jimmy Snuggerud. Because Guy scored a goal. Here we go. We got a goal. Guy scored his third goal of the night. We have a hat trick on this great evening. PLW got an assist with Randy Walkman. Got an assist on that one. Congratulations. Thanks so much about that. I'm going to go with Jimmy Snuggerud about this. I think he is underrated in NHL. Great career to Michigan. And now he finished the year, guys, with the first line. That's the reason he's tried to pushing him and pushing Jordan Kyrou out because of him. Secondly, have a great playoff. I think at 4.7 games, something like that. Because this guy is underrated, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think like I said before, if there's two guys that are going to challenge Demidov for a Calder Trophy, it's Bouillon and Snuggerud. especially Snuggerud because he's played top line minutes in Blues and he fits in so well with Jim Montgomery's system there. And now he's got the offseason to train, get bigger, get ready, understand the system a little bit more and what they want him to do. It would have shocked me if Jimmy Snuggerud won the Calder Trophy this year. I don't think so. I think as much as it would be great to see two guys from Montreal win back-to-back Calder trophies, there's two guys on this list that probably could win it too, and Bouillon and Snuggerud.
Right about that. I think they're going to be a solid player for the Blues. We talk about the Blues right there. Frankie said that Logan Mailloux is going to be the top players over there. No, Frankie. With all the respect I have for Logan Mailloux, guys, if you put him on the power play number one, they're going to struggling with him. Good shot, but hockey IQ is not there. His passing on the power play is not there. He's a great on the power play on the one-timer shot. I agree with you, but no, don't expect that allowed. He's not going to play over Cam Fowler, Philip Brober, or Colton Perienko, or Justin Falk, or Tony Crook if he's coming back next season.
I don't think Torrey Krug's coming back. I don't think Torrey Krug's coming back. I think his career is done with that injury. I don't think he's coming back.
Could be done, right?
Yeah, it could be done for sure. And I think that's why they get in Mailloux and guys like that, the way they traded for Cam Fowler last year. And don't forget, I think Broberg to me, the kid impressed me when I watched him for Edmonton a couple of years ago, and then I saw him up close in the Stanley Cup final. The first year Edmonton and Florida played, I really liked the way he played, and I thought for sure Edmonton would at least match that offer sheet and not lose him. And then St. Louis got two good players in Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. And Broberg's proving to me that he's a great defenseman in this league.
Great said about that. Look, we're missing time right now. We're going to go with a clash in the next couple of minutes. But before that, I want to share with you my wild card. Some people talk about Askarov. Do you think he's going to be number one goalie over there?
He's going to get every opportunity to be a number one goalie there.
Right. Now he's with Alex Nedeljkovic. So, yes, I think honestly it could be 30, 35 games. But that reminds me a little bit Dustin Wolf for the Calgary Flying. He had to be exceptional and bring the San Jose maybe in the playoff to get considered that one. I think it's a long shot for Askarov, but everything will happen. Now, my wild card, Mr. Jim, for all the fans, guys, and maybe nobody talk about him. I know it will be hard. I know he played with a team that does not score a lot of goals, but I think he is underrated because nobody see him play, other the fact I watch him a lot because I follow the KHL. Any idea?
Ooh, is it Gritchuk?
He's on your backyards.
Yeah, is it Gritchuk? Is it the Devils prospect that they just signed?
Shabanov.
Oh, Shabanov. Okay.
This is my wild card of the Calder Trophy, guys.
For the Islanders, yeah, that's a good pick.
Third scorer for the KHL last year. Great playoff. The kid can play hockey. I can tell you that. If they use him properly in the New York Islanders, don't be surprised. He's going to be a top 9. I know last year they signed at Tsiplakov, but this is better. It's not the same type of player, guys. This is going to be another good good player for the Islanders upcoming season. Can he crack the top 6? We'll see. But if you have a chance to watch the Islanders, you're going to like a lot of Shabanov. So if you want to talk a little bit minute about him.
Yeah, no, he's a great offensive player, right? You watched him in KHL. This is another great get because they got Siplikov last year. So the fact that they got two guys come out of the KHL back-to-back years was huge. Again, offensively talented, goal scorer, team can move the puck, facilitator, something that they desperately needed on the island. They've needed goal scoring for a while. They get it, and I like this pickup. Matthew Darsh has had a great first couple of months as a general manager for the New York Islanders.
He does a great job since he's get there. You can see right away the philosophy. You talk about culture in Buffalo. That's what Matthew. That's what I'm talking about. Matthew Dash learned a lot behind Justin Brisebois. What a great turnaround for Matthew Dash. He fight to have a spot in the Montreal Canadiens and they stay in the NHL for years, right? And then he get out, retire, get a promote like this, and now he get this. Congratulations for Matthew Dash, a very smart hockey player, everything like that, and a smart man. And we'll see what the New York Calendar. They still have to fix a couple of things there. I still believe going to be a bubble team to make the playoff. Depend on Zorokin. And we'll see what they look like at Barzell. That will helping them. Shabanov and Barzell and the lineup a full year. This is a team could surprise maybe a team like like every year you have one team you don't expect and then they go there. That could be the Islanders. Some opinion on the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no, I like Islanders. I like what they've done. I've had them as one of the teams that I've liked their offseason. I think the Islanders in that division, if you looked at it, you put Carolina and New Jersey automatic playoff spots, but who's your third? Is it Washington? Is it the Islanders? Columbus is battling. Do we believe in the Rangers? So I think the Islanders have a chance to really sneak in there and get a playoff spot because we're going to see the best of Patrick Waugh because he's not going to have a roster of guys that are not up to his standards. This is going to be a fast team that can play hockey.
Here we go. The clash at the end of the show, Jim. If you don't mind to do that. Last time it was pretty tough one. Tonight will be easier for you. I'm not going to get too much difficult, but I think I have a couple of questions. I think we have 5 or 6 for you, for the people in the chat. We're going to start with Ivan Demidov. But I think this is really interesting what my question is because it's not like tomorrow or next year. It's about a long term. Ivan Demidov will outscore Connor Bedard in the next 5 years.
Recency bias. Should we take recency bias into this? Bedard's struggling, but Bedard's going through the growing pains that McKinnon went through. But the Blackhawks aren't really a good team. I don't want to come off as a homer. I like Bedard as a player. I think if he worked on his scoring and a couple of things, I'm going to say not at all because I think Connor Bedard has the ability to outscore Demidov. And if that team makes the right decisions, Bedard has the shot if he utilizes it. But he's not utilizing it right now because I don't know if he's afraid. I don't know what it is, but there's something off about it because when you could see him train, that release is special. And we know he can score. So if he can find his shot and gain that confidence, I don't know if Demidov is going to outscore him.
A great question. Great answer about that. I know the fan would be a little bit 50-50 on that one. They maybe go with Connor Bedard over. Here's my concern for Connor Bedard is how Chicago is going to who's going to be around him. I know they draft a couple of good players, right? But still, I think in 2 years, Demidov is going to be with Suzuki and Caulfield, I think, on the first line. I think Demidov is going to be the best players, a little bit like Connor Bedard. How we can evaluate a player like they go to the playoff, everything like that, right? Maybe. So we slightly go with Demidov. But if you said not at all, I would not disagree with you because you have a good point about Connor Bedard. But right now, I feel more at the long term, even Demidov, in my opinion. And maybe a fans, Montreal Canadiens, you can say that. I just see so much about Demidov the last 2 years. A little bit advantage slightly over him. It's okay. Now,
it's 50-50. It's 50-50, like you said. It's 50-50.
Exactly. Even the Edmonton Oilers, Jim, will never win a Stanley Cup with McDavid and Twistle.
Not at all. I think they'll win a cup. I think they're close. I really do. Like I've seen them. They've been to back-to-back Stanley Cup final. You can't get any closer than that. Though I thought the year before they were a lot closer because this year this probably should have been over in 5 games. They have to find a goaltender. Like if they can find the goaltender, McDavid and Draisaitl and the Oilers are going to win. They have the talent. The talent is there. They lost some depth scoring, but that's okay. They have good players. Isaac Howard's there. Like this team has the ability to be better. And I think they can win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I just don't like the way they structure the team around him, around both of them. I will say to you, they will not win the Stanley Cup with both together. Uh, how he's going to resign, I don't know yet. I'm making a video about him the next 48 hours. But I will say right now, no, no more this one for this. Here we go. The New Jersey Devils. I think it's a good one for you. Have more goal que the Montreal Canadiens defensemen. And I look deep about that. I'm checking all of them. I'm checking Montreal Canadiens. And I would love to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say absolutely on this. I think the Devils have offensively gifted players on defense. Starts with Luke Hughes. We talked about him before. Simone Nemec is there as well. He can put the puck in the net. Dougie Hamilton, everybody forgets his shot on the back end as well. You know, Brett Pesce can score every now and then. Siegenthaler, right? They have guys that can score on this team, and they've played really well. And a lot of these guys play on the power play, and that's where their D gets a lot of their points is on the power play. But when you have face-off guys like Nico Hischier that can win the puck back to your defenseman 5-on-5, that's their strength too, right down the middle. Again, Suzuki, nothing against Suzuki. I think he's the number one center in this league. But I think New Jersey, the way their power play is, and the ability to, especially with with Luke Hughes, his ability to skate the puck back there. Obviously, you have that in Hudson and everything, and Dobson's back there. But Dobson's number's been down a little bit because he's been focusing more on his defensive game. I like New Jersey's D. You can call me a fan. You could say I've covered this team all the time, but I've looked at Montreal's defense too. Outside of Hudson and Dobson, I think you can make an argument that most of their goals come from Caulfield, Line, and now Dimidov. I think that's where they're going to get a lot of their goals from because Dobson and Hudson are more facilitators and goal scorers.
It's you have to look about Hamilton, Luke Hughes. I think the other two players really put the puck in the net for them at this moment.
Yeah.
I think, right? Then Montreal, you have Thompson. Dobson, it can be to put the puck in the net. Can say, Lane Hudson or other defensemen can step up. I think advantage slightly the Devils. I don't see a difference of 10 goals at the end of the year.
No, I think if they beat them, it'll be slight number, probably plus minus 5 in my opinion. But I think you got to give the edge to New Jersey just because of the guys that they have back there.
I agree with you about that one. The next one, Demidov, have more points than Michkov for upcoming season.
Ooh. I'll say absolutely. Michkov had a good rookie year. He turned it on after Tortorella was fired. And I know a lot of people in Philadelphia are gonna be like, "Oh, Michkov, what he did." I can't wait to see Dimidov play a full year in Montreal. What did you? He had what 4? He had what 4.7 games when he came over. A couple points in play. Like this guy, to me, like you've said before, he is one of those guys that could shoot the puck, skill, could be potentially playing the first line by what? Maybe not the end of this year, but he could be. Michkov, right? New coach, second year. Is there a sophomore slump? I'm gonna lean Dimidov right now.
I'd be surprised. You guys, I'll go with Mishkov. The only reason behind that is going to be on the first line. He's going to play on the power play. He's going to have a lot of TOI for the Flyers. Over Demidov, he's going to be on the second line. I think that will be limited his time at TOI versus Mishkov. That's only advantage I give to Mishkov over Demidov for the most point for the upcoming season. And the year after that, I will be over Demidov on that one. But this is the reason I go with that one.
No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Absolutely. I could see that. But like I said with Dimidov, I just think there's going to be opportunities for him, power play, to get those points up too.
Montebo more win than Linus Ullmark.
They were close this year in win totals, right? I believe so. They were very close in win totals. Montembeault played a lot this year down the stretch, but they got Kapanen now. Kapanen is going to be an underrated signing for the Montreal Canadiens this year. I'm gonna say not at all. I think because you finally got the backup goalie, I think Linus Ullmark could be playing more in Ottawa because Forsberg's now out of there. Who's Ottawa's backup for them? I think he could have more spots. He could have more starts, a chance for more wins. Capo Kakanen's there. They're gonna want to limit the workload for Monty in Montreal, but Montembeault's the number one guy there. But I'm gonna give the slight edge to Ullmark.
Yeah, it's not a bad comments about this. I think it's two things here. First, I think Tobias is going to have more game. I think Tobias could step up a little bit more. It's not normal a Montembeault go 62 game Jim. It's not supposed to be that way. I think for him at 55 games, he's going to have less start. I think that would be a little bit less goal, less win. With that, I think he'll mark with the number one with his big contract he has. And the only thing would be contract would be we are wrong is because Unmark he's get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason he would not play a lot. But again, I don't know who their backup right now is in Ottawa. I'd have to see who they signed because they lost Forsberg. So, and he was really reliable for them when Ullmark went down. So, and like you said, Montembeault can't be playing 62 games. He just ran out of gas in the playoffs for the Canadiens. Like you just can't be playing 62 games. This isn't the Martin Brodeur era of hockey.
You're right about this way. Excuse me. I think it will be good to see the performance of Montembeault between the pipe for the upcoming season. Some people consider him an underrated goaltender. From the outside eyes, from what you heard around the league, you're part of how do you see people, how the hockey fans see Montembeault as a goaltender?
The thing with Montembeault is if you don't watch him a lot, you're not sure about him, right? Like, is he the guy for Montreal that can get them win a Stanley Cup? That's kind of like the word around this on the street, like from the outside looking in. There's not a lot of belief in him, but there's a reason why he's there in Montreal. There's a reason they chose him. They traded for him, right? They moved out. Caden Primo's not there anymore. That was supposed to be the guy. We know Fowler's coming. Dolbesh is there. They bring in insurance with Capo Kakinen. I think Montembeault, to me, if I looked at it and again, I keep a close eye on Montreal. But other people may say, oh, hey, why did he get a chance to be on the Olympic team? Well, he played well for Canada, helped them win a world championship. That's why he was on the Four Nations team. Maybe he didn't get the start that he should have, but there's a reason he was on that team, and there's probably going to be a reason why maybe potentially makes Team Canada for the Olympics. He's a good goalie, and there's a reason why Montreal got to the playoffs last year. Montembeault, when he stands on his head, is just as good as any goalie in the league. Not the elite goalies, but that tier under those guys, you could put him in there.
Yeah. Do you see him with Team Canada?
I mean, right now, I've seen a lot of projection lists, and he's the third goalie right now. Who are you going to put ahead of him? As the third.
Hill,
he's
Thompson,
a third goalie.
Bennington.
Right, like you have Thompson, Bennington. I don't know. I think he could be better than Hill. I think he could be your third. I think he could be Team Canada's third. Why not?
Yeah, it's really a problem with Team Canada anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like there's not really a lot of guys that can be a third guy. I think Montembeault with his experience playing for Team Canada now twice. I know he didn't play at Four Nations, but it was funny about Four Nations in that Canada-U.S. game that the United States won on that Saturday night. A lot of people thought Montembeault should have started that night after the game. We're like, oh, why didn't Montembeault start? Imagine him in the Bell Center crowd feeding off that energy. Maybe Canada wins that game.
You're right about that. Jim, Joe Veleno is going to wear number 90. 90.
9-0.
Who do you remember wear that jersey with the Montreal Canadiens?
Did Tatar wear that jersey with the Canadiens?
Who?
Thomas Tatar. Did Tatar wear 90?
One of them. They had two more.
Oof.
One played with the Washington Capitals with the Boston Bruins. At least.
At least. Okay. 90.
At the beginning of 2000.
Beginning of 2000?
2002 to 2004. I believe he won number 49 with us, Washington, but I could be wrong. Joey Juneau.
Joey Juneau. Yes, Joey Juneau.
Now I'm going to give you a more difficult one. Who were the last player for the Montreal Canadiens wear the number 90 after Thomas Tatar?
He was a great player for
it's a minor league players, American Hockey League. Left the Laval Rocket to go with the Boston Bruins. Play a couple of games. I think he played with the Flyers also. But
getting stumped tonight on these questions.
I'm going to give it to you. Anthony Richard.
Okay, yeah, probably I'd have to think about that for a while or look up on
it's
Google.
Not easy. When I'm not could want to put you on the hot seat, was just to share it with you.
That's okay. That's a good one though. That's a good trivia question.
3 players and Jim wear the number 90 and the history of the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, as you know, Tatar and Richard, and now it's going to be number 4 with, of course, Joe Veleno. That's all we got tonight, Mr. Jim. We have a good 2 hours together. It was a pleasure to work with you. You're so easy to work, and the people in the chat compare. You know, they always said Jim is good. Jim, he knows his hockey, everything like that. And glad to see you. Hopefully, see you the next couple of weeks, and when you'll be a little bit free night. I think Wednesday night is a good night for me and for you. So I think it'll be good. And let me know if you know someone want to join us, or if you know someone want to, or anything we can help you, whatever it is. And for the people in the chat, guys, maybe you can sharing with them a little bit how they can reach you, easy way to follow you, because Jim does a lot of podcasts left and right, and also he write on the social media. So give us a bit more information, Jim, before you go.
Yeah, guys, following me along on X, Twitter at Jim Behringer. That's probably the easiest way you can see all my stuff. I post everything from Full Press Hockey to RG Media to NHL Rumors. I just put up a video on our official NHL Rumors on YouTube video up. Did some things. I'll try to drop another one tomorrow or the next day. Follow Full Press Hockey on YouTube as well, and Full Press NHL as well on the X Machine on the Twitter. I have an Instagram. Multiple Instagrams, Full Press NHL, Nightcap Recap, Jersey Jim 33. I'm available everywhere. I respond to all questions and comments, and I know I saw something in our chat before when we were talking about rule changes, and there's a lot of good ones, and CBA is out as well, so maybe that's something we could dive into next time. But yeah, just hit me up on the X Machine. I don't bite, and keep everything civil, and I will answer. And I love the interaction from everybody. The questions have been great. I love coming on. I love interacting with everybody. You guys are very knowledgeable, and I love being a part of it.
Jim, it's always a pleasure having you people in the chat. Thanks, Jim. You're great, and everything is continuous to sharing their thought about you. And I think. Look, I did this for 5 years, going to start my 6th in August, and I'll be honest with you. You're really fun to be a part, to be with you and the co-host. Hopefully, it's going to come back the next couple of weeks, like I mentioned to you. And every time you want to pop up, and please send me something on the X, and then I will definitely back to you. Anything we can help you, let us know. We are here for you, and you guys, you do an amazing, great job on the social media. Look, it's amazing. You turn on the computer, you see Jim somewhere.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Coach. I appreciate that. I appreciate. I'm looking at the comments now. Thank you, everybody, for the kind words. I appreciate love being a part of it, and just I love the work that I do. I love covering the game. It's not a job when you're having fun, and I do it every day. I love having fun, and everybody asks me if I don't sleep. Well, I do sleep. It's the off season, so I can slow down a little bit. But
It'll
during
be
the
more fun,
season,
Jim, when the hockey season will be back, right?
yeah,
We're going to have
exactly.
more
I
exchange. We're going
can't
to talk
wait.
more. And so anytime, I usually, when I don't do the Montreal Canadiens, I'm 7 days days per week when Montreal, the season start in September. I'm already there. But when Montreal does not play, I do show like that. When they play, I do the live stream. But when they don't play, so when you have a free night, when you don't do, with all the stuff you have, you're welcome to join us. It'll be more fun because now we have something to talk more about this.
Yeah, exactly. And with the schedule coming out, we can make some time and have some fun and do these things together. And like I said, I will not be a stranger, guys. I will be on this show. I cannot wait. I'm so glad to be here, and it's an awesome night to be here. And I can't wait to talk hockey again with you all.
Awesome, Jim. We'll let you go. We finish along the outro of this show, but I can wait to see you next time. Stay in touch with me on the X. Another great job tonight. I really appreciate it. Have an amazing, great night, Jim. You and your family, and enjoy the night.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks so much, Jim. Appreciate that. It was Jim Beringer, guys. It's directly from New Jersey. Big fan of the New Jersey Devils, the Montreal Canadiens, but also big hockey fans. Love about hockey, passionate about hockey, love to sharing his thought left and right. Guys, I'm telling you right now, I do this for many years. You not get rich with that. The only way you do this because you are passion, you have some kind of passion about hockey, and that's what Jim represents for me. I just love to work with him. I enjoy him, and I can wait to see him the next time. So you guys in the chat, we're very kind of you to be with us tonight. Yes, it's the last 2 weeks of July, guys. We're going to take this a little bit more easy. We have a show Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. My next show will be Friday night on the Fun Friday night. And then Sunday, we're going to do the recap of the week of the Montreal and NHL. Take advantage of those time off. I'm really busy, to be honest with you. I'm building 2 other channel. I have a third one is going to starting back to do all the baseball game, NFL game. We're not going to do this on this channel anymore. Check my other things. I have 2 other channels coming, and then I'm doing evergreen video. My next one is going to be Connor McDavid, and on my new channel, I'm doing Ichiro Suzuki. So it's a documentary, and I'm working on that. I try to make this. I don't want to go nowhere. I want to stay alive here on the channel, and then yes, a lot of things going on here. I don't want to share this tonight because the Friday is where I will have more time with you guys talking about my life, everything's going on in Thailand, everything. So wait until Friday night. It was a pleasure to have you. Thanks for Mark Elliott and Bart for the super chat tonight. Thanks for the monitor Ron would be with us tonight. And of course, we want to thank Mr. RJ Calabro on the Hockey Nation News and Update. RJ, guys, underrated in the Hockey Nation. This guy deserves more love and more great words of what you do here with all the words of what you bring on the table with the news and updates. So I give you a bit more information about the Hockey Nation for the next couple of days. Thanks for joining us. Smash the likes. Glad to see some new face or some people come back in the chat tonight. Glad to see Steve G, example, Nicholas, Jazz, Frank, the regular Frankie. Whatever we not agree together, we respect each other. That's the most important thing I have on this chat, guys. A lot of great conversation between people. Pete Martin, Pete August, Frankie, Frank, Billy, Guy, P.S., Ari, Ken McCarty. Again, I appreciate a lot to be with us tonight. And many others guys was in the chat tonight. And of course, the Hockey Nation, I sure want to remind you, all of you, because that's the only reason that channel is great. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. Like notre ami Harry, you have greatness inside of you. Thanks, Harry. We miss you, buddy. Hopefully, you enjoy your summer, Harry, with your friends. Take advantage of your summertime, Mr. Harry. Harry, guys, is our big fans of the Hockey Nation show. We love Harry, like our little boy in the chat for us. You're welcome, Frank. And of course, the Hockey Nation show, the Habs Nation, want to tell you one more thing, more things. Be well, BL. Find a way not only to dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the second half of what? Someone was said 2025. Every year at the half of the year in July, 1st of the July, at the end of the June, I reevaluate my year. I look about what I need to do, what I need to improve, what I need to be better on financially, relationship, family, job, business, everything. I review. And then I set, a little bit motto about what I need to do. And for the rest of the year, it's about this, guys. One shot, one goal, one day at a time. This is what I live right now. One day at a time. I have only one shot and I have one goal. This is what I got to share with you tonight on the great Hockey Nation Live Show, a Habs Nation podcast. Thanks again for Jim Beringer to be with us tonight. And I can wait to work with him again the next time. Until then, my friend, the Hockey Nation Live Show, the Habs Nation, want to tell you one more thing. The cheese, I'll tell you. But the cheese now is, I will tell you Friday night. We love you, friends. Have a great night, everybody. See you Friday night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks, everybody in the chat for all the kind of words you have about the Hockey Nation Live Show. Good night, everyone. Oh. Booyah. Good night, everybody. Good night, Frankie.